Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First, got the roll call, please.
Brian,
Here.
Justin,
Here.
John, Jeff.
Here. Need a motion to approve the agenda this evening?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Aye. Not deny.
Jeff, aye. Motion carries. Open up the floor for citizen comment about anything on the agenda for this evening. If anybody wants to approach the council, please come up forward so we can hear you and get recorded. All right, we're going to close citizen comment at this time. Next up, Salvation Army Captain Dave is here for us. Make a little announcement.
Well, on behalf of the Salvation Army of Dubuque, I want to thank each and every member of this city council for getting the highest amount of dollars for the city council this year. They beat out Epworth by $200.
You can let them know we're keeping it.
Do you mind if I get a picture of you real quick with it in the background?
Absolutely.
All righty.
We'd like one of you guys to get together.
Okay, sure.
This phone. Okay.
All right.
That's front page stuff.
Front page.
This way. Like, get all the council in it if we can, Justin. Okay, then we'll do a closer one or just like that. And I can get your number if you want me to forward any of those to you.
Sounds good.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks to all the council for helping with that. Doing some bell ringing. We'll do it again next year. Next up, any questions on the consent agenda?
I have one that maybe city staff can help, and I'm sorry I didn't get this to you ahead of time. On the expense report, under the treasurer's report, in the section on page 7, it's the clerk and administration total. I just noticed we're 50% of the way through the fiscal year, but we're spent about 75% on the wages line. So I'm wondering, are we going to end up at 150%, or do we know why we're spent 75% of the budget in that area is already spent this year? What would be driving that? Do we have some position or something that wasn't in the budget when we approved it and now we're funding it?
No.
You're waiting for it to pull up here.
Sorry. The big line item.
So our wages are split in a few different areas, so I'm wondering, because I see that also the IFRS and the taxes and everything are kind of like that. I'll go back in and look at it, so maybe they're not getting split up correctly.
Yeah, the total for that whole area is 55, so the whole area's in balance,
Right,
but wages is such a large part of it, it just kind of caught my eye.
yeah, I'll take a look at it. I haven't really started working on an amendment yet, so I haven't really gone through super close. So I'll go look, because I know that we also share with economic development. It could have been that I put a number in another area too much, not enough here. So I'll take a look at it and I will let you know.
Thanks, and I'm sorry I didn't get you that question.
That's okay. I can let you know.
Okay.
I will email everyone tomorrow.
So we'll need a motion to approve the consent agenda pending Marcy's explanation.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda pending the explanation.
I'll second it.
Brian, I.
Justin, I.
Jeff, aye. Motion carries. Moving on to monthly reports, Parks and Recreation. Stacy.
Yeah, I can't ask you if you have any questions this time because it didn't get uploaded. So I'm gonna go over a few things. We went over a lot of the stuff at the work session regarding the tile around the gym floor. MediaCom, we have, I think, figured that out. I got a call after the meeting last week. And so we're working on getting all our TVs updated. to use the Meeting app. So it's a work in progress, but we're getting there. So hopefully that problem is solved in the near future. And then from there, I just had some numbers in here, just everything compared to last December. Was up. Golf Sim, we kind of talked about at the last meeting. Revenue for that is up on a monthly basis. Last month was our highest. It was like $1,000 last month in revenue, which is pretty good. I mean, our goal for that was to cover our annual costs, which we pretty much did in a month. So I think that
Nice.
that is perfect in terms of what we're going for. Usage overall for the entire center, we're up like 800 sign-ins from the December before. Day pass revenue up like 3,500 from the December before. Memberships up, it was only 12, but still up from the December before. So all numbers trending in the right direction. So staying busy, it's been good. Other than that, trying to get some new fitness classes. We have another babysitting clinic coming up. Introducing pickleball clinics, something I've been asked about for a while. So I finally found someone that would them. So we have a few of those coming up. And then I'm working with Quad City Magicians to hold a magic class to see if anyone's interested in that. So so far has been a good response. So
Nice.
other than that, you guys have any questions?
Thank you, Stacy. Police report, chief.
Yeah, you guys have my reports, and I actually have multiple end of the year reports for the police department you guys can look at. If you guys haven't looked at it, I can kind of go over a couple of them with you. So there is a 2024 city yearly stats. Basically, that just kind of tells what we've done compared to other cities. There's the regular stat report that you guys usually get, along with sheriff's office response and just our basics, and then our nature codes. That's what you guys usually get every month. There is a year-end review that kind of shows all the numbers throughout the year, what we've done in our nature codes and the times we spent on them. And then there's another one here. It says 2024 apartment log. So we put together a log just so you guys can kind of see, you know, the response, what apartments we've gone to, the time amount we've been there, what officer's been there, you know, what time of day, night. We respond to those calls. So you can kind of go through, if you look at that one, you can see that, you know, there's tabs for each apartment if you haven't seen that.
Chief, I did have a question on that one, just out of curiosity. So one of the categories is extra attention.
Yep.
There's a lot of calls that go for extra attention.
Correct, yeah.
What is that?
So it depends, it just reflects on what type of call that was there. Say if there was like a domestic disturbance or something where the person's requiring extra attention in the area, or a harassment or a trespass issue, we'll provide extra attention in that area. Officers sit over there and just monitor the area at times.
Okay. So it could be related to anything.
Could be
It's just
related
like
to
we're spending
pretty much
more
anything.
time on it, so we're
Correct.
losing time.
Yep. And 2023 is kind of a weird year for arrests also, you know, they seem to be down, you know, but they were down pretty much in every city, not that that means anything, you know, but we ended up having 40 charges. So what that means is 36 arrests. There could be 4 warrants outstanding, you know, that they just weren't picked up yet. Also, other things that could have been is the sheriff's office could have came in. For instance, this month's been a very busy month of January. You'll see those numbers in February, but we've had approximately 10 already for the month of January. But sheriff's office took 3 of 4 due to a fight over at a local establishment where, you know, it was kind of a crazy deal where we ended up arresting 4 individuals. The sheriff's office took 3, we took 1 because we only had 1 officer there. Each officer just took an individual and arrested them during those events. So so the arrest, it could be more depending on if the sheriff's office came in and, you know, and handled a certain arrest when we were here or not here, you know, in those type of situations too.
So I did have a question about the 24 year-end stats. When you look at events, you look at ours compared to the rest of the cities, even like Dyersville, we're like 2,000 higher than they are.
It just depends. I consider that very active.
Yeah.
We're a very active department. Some of that is, you know, you see, business checks, home checks. We do a ton of those for people that are gone, snowbirds. We do a ton of those too.
Okay.
So I would say we are very comparable with Darsel and Asbury
Yeah.
for, you know, numbers or we're actually a little higher than them. But that just shows that we're active, we're out doing things.
Perfect. Do you think, chief, that that's because we're so well covered, like we're covering our geographic area with coverage hours and things that we
Yeah,
can be
I
more
mean,
attentive?
Yeah, I mean, we have 5 officers. Let's compare, like, Darsel has 7 full-time officers, 2 part-time. Asbury has 6 full-time officers. We have 5. And then Epworth, Farley have 1, Cascade has 2 with a couple part-timers also. So I just think, you know, with the schedule that I put out, we are covering hours, you know, a 24/7 or close to it schedule compared to Asbury and Darsel. We're very, you know, like Darsel actually just went out of the 24/7 coverage just because they didn't have enough guys to cover that amount. So they're covered as much as they can. Asbury never was 24/7 and we're right up there for the
So
coverage.
all of the city jurisdictions, they use sheriff coverage when they can't provide their own,
Correct.
and we're providing more.
But I'd say
By comparison.
I would say we're providing more than Asbury and Darsel at this time, yeah.
Okay.
Just with our 5 guys compared to their 7 or 6 respectively.
Yeah,
Yeah.
get more people.
Questions for the chief? Thanks, chief.
Good.
Public Works, Eugene, you're up.
Any questions on the report that I given?
I just want to say, I thought the Christmas lights are great. Every year when we do those, I see you guys hang those up and take them down, but
Yeah, it seemed
I
like a
think
short
they add a
season up and
lot to
down.
the city.
Seemed like a short season up and down, but unfortunately with Thanksgiving being so late there and due to weather temperatures, they were gonna get a little bit colder there right after the new year. Didn't quite want to take them down that early, but temperature rushed it just a little bit, so
They're nice.
Yeah.
They add a lot.
have to sympathize the guy up in the basket a little bit that's taking them down, so. Yeah,
Was it you, Dean?
no. It wasn't me this year, so,
You delegated that one.
Yeah.
yeah. Although if it needed to be, I would.
I know you would.
But yeah, other than that, I mean, you know, December's obviously been a quiet month with the holidays and stuff. You know, I don't mean to say this in a bad way, but lack of snow and it's the same with this month so far. So yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so we've been pretty fortunate.
Awesome. Any questions for Dean after that? Engineering report, sitting in for.
You have any questions?
There you go. How easy that is?
He basically just gave an update on projects that are going on throughout the city.
The water system improvements project, that's the one planning toward the tower project?
Yes, that is
Okay,
correct.
that's the planning. And the Piasta Street ADA, that's the.
The overlay, the
railroad.
milling and the overlay,
Oh,
right, that we're working or partnering with that county on.
Any other questions of our city engineer pro tem?
I'm kind of curious when we're gonna see the survey that we were gonna send out related to the deal,
Yes.
input to the DOT.
Yes,
Do we
Steve
have a-
said he was gonna reach out to his contact at Foth Engineering and find out when they were going to be sending that out.
We were supposed to get that like
Yeah,
the week after our meeting, right?
that's just something we want to push out wide, I think, when we get it.
Oh,
Really get
definitely.
citizen input on that, because it's high visibility and high danger.
Mayor's report, not a lot to report. Annette and I had discussed re-examining and maybe opening up and having, we talked about a council and coffee sort of thing, so looking at scheduling that coming month maybe. So be aware that we're looking at doing that. You know, looking like a Saturday morning, like a 10 to noon, 10 to 1 sort of a thing, so.
Open conversation.
Yeah,
council.
yeah, not so it's not just,
Common
yeah,
chat.
yep, This,
I'll throw some dates out on my
Hearing.
summary and
Yeah.
we can go from there.
That'd be great.
just to have some discourse with the
Whoever wants to
citizens,
talk.
whoever wants to come and talk and not be in a totally official capacity. Other than that, we'll move on to administration. Item up is resolution approving pay estimate number 5 submitted by Conley Construction for the Kelly Oaks Park Multi-Use Trail Project. Dean has approved that this looks to be paid. Any questions at this time?
Dean, is this the last one? Are we closing out the project or is?
There'll be a final retainage.
There is?
Yeah, we're holding retainage due to the fact that, seeding, season got kind of late. And with the dry weather that we had in the fall of the year, we didn't really get a very good,
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
take on that seed, didn't really germinate. So, you know, there's a very good possibility it might lay dormant this winter and sprout next spring. So, yeah, so we're gonna hold retainage on that part of it. But other than that, everything should be final. This minor pay app was due to, I'm gonna call it the ravine on the east side. There was some washing that took place right along the edge of the trail. Recognize that it's gonna be hard to hold that soil up against that trail. Therefore, I allowed him to put some bigger ripstone there to hold that in place, just to, you know, kind of maintain that soil and hold that trail in place. Along with that, it was just a little more additional silt fence and some wattles.
No other questions? I will need a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve pay app number 5 for Kelly Oaks Multi-Use Trail.
I'll second.
Brian, I.
Justin, I.
John, I.
Jeff, I.
Motion carries. Next up, we have the ordinance amending Title 15, Chapter 157 subdivision regulations, minimum requirements. Residential lot checklist, third reading. We talked about this for a little bit here. Past the first 2 readings. All of the developers that work within the city have been made aware of the change and there have been no questions, comments or anything. So
Not even today. I updated this yesterday, but there was nothing that came in today either.
Does it surprise you we've had no feedback on it? Or is it just that this is common? This is what they're used to seeing or?
I think it's becoming more common.
Okay.
I don't think it's unusual, but it doesn't surprise me that there wasn't any
Yeah.
feedback.
it's not like we're changing what
No.
we're asking them to do. It's just a checklist to follow. that they
We're
do.
Right.
formalizing it. Yeah. I'll make a motion to approve the ordinance amending Title 15, Chapter 157, subdivision regulation minimum requirements, Casesco and residential lot checklist, third reading.
I'll second.
Brian, I.
Justin, I.
John, I.
Jeff, I.
Motion carries. I will now need a motion to adopt.
I'll make a motion to adopt.
I'll second.
Brian, I.
Justin, I.
John, I.
Jeff, I.
Motion carries. Next up, ordinance amending Title 6 Physical Environment, Chapter 5 Utilities Code of Ordinances of the City of Goffstown, water and sewer outside corporate boundaries, first reading. At this time?
I guess I'll open up with the discussion part of it, I guess. And then I guess basically the reason I'll be voting no against this is because when we started this, we all know I wasn't a real big fan of it. I asked the question, are we doing this because we have to, or are we doing this because we can? The target, in my opinion, has been moving. We first were told that we spent $1.5 million investment and only got $220,000 back. And that if we didn't do it, something was to happen at Thunder Ridge, taxpayers of Piasta would have to pay for it. Next time around, we found out that we only spent $1.4 million in investment and actually recouped $660,000 back. And with the loans that we've used on this, it wouldn't fall on the taxpayers of Piasta. It would fall on to all of the users. Yeah. Then we come back a third time and that we find out that the numbers are actually pretty decent. I think they were upside down $4,300
Yeah.
in the water and $219 in the sewer. But somehow we plugged in GoDebt of the lift station, which was, I thought was part of the 1.4 that we already invested in, plus some TIF expense, which I don't necessarily know where that came from. So I don't see that the numbers make sense. If we want to do it, because we can, fine, but let's just say it the way it is. I don't, at this point, don't think it's necessary.
When I read this data, it looks like, well, we've talked about this before. Our commercial tax base is dramatically subsidizing our residential tax base inclusive of the city residents and non-city residents, right? And that we're doing that because we're charging based on usage. And our formula is structured to charge heavier on heavy usage. That's correct statement. So is it our intent to try to have the amount that I'm gonna say we're subsidizing or that we're carrying the residential users being in the city and outside the city, is our intent to have the subsidization be equivalent? Or is our intent that, where we started this conversation way back when, was to build up a fund for the outside users in case we had significant capital investments we had to make? And we're not even talking about that piece now, right?
Correct.
So I guess my question is, I mean, how does the rest of the council feel like, are we trying to have, do we want the deficit or the surplus funding of citizens to be similar to what we're asking for surplus funding of non-citizen users?
I don't think we could answer that question yet, because if you take a look at the numbers that were given to us yesterday, they make 0 sense. They make absolutely 0 sense for us to answer that
Yep.
question.
That's the dilemma.
Right?
I agree.
I don't know, 2 work sessions ago, we sat and talked and we felt that we were very comfortable of the payback of that 1.4.
Right.
We're at that pace that we're being paid back. Our concern at that point was, okay, what happens if, right? What happens if we have a fund here? What happens if? Well, what we found out was what happens if we take out an SRF loan, that expense gets paid out through all the
By
users,
usage.
not
Yeah.
by, yes.
Yeah.
So do we want to have a fund? Do we need to have a fund? That's the question.
My opinion is as long as we're funding future investment debt from the one that hits all users, I don't think we need, I mean, my biggest concern early on was if we go to general obligation debt funding, that falls to the citizens of Piasta.
Right.
Just 100% disproportionately, nobody else is really paying in that. That was my concern. As long as we're using SRF funding, which it sounds like that would be our goal, and that's where we're gonna go on the next water tower project, then I don't know that it's needed.
And there's nothing that would stop us from getting an SRF loan.
They can
We'd
still
have to
deny
probably
us. We
have
have
to
to
raise
apply.
rates. I mean, we'd have to do another study, to look at what, the revenues coming in and the expenses going out.
And then theoretically or realistically, we would raise it on everybody. I mean, the rates would raise. So the rates for the city would raise, the rates for outside the city would raise at the rate that they're at, which is 150%.
Right.
All boats rise, everybody's paying for the debt. That's if they approve us for the loan, which we wouldn't have any foresight to know that they wouldn't.
Well, Heidi said.
We qualify.
In that work session, Heidi said that it would be an emergency situation that we would,
Have to go debt.
we'd be able to be eligible for this. If it's an emergency situation, which is what we're worried. Right?
If something breaks. Right. And we have to make a fast investment, we're eligible.
And they also, she said.
And we're eligible for a non-emergency project too,
100%.
right? This is a proactive one. We're gearing
Right,
up.
but we're still gonna have to have the money up front.
Yes,
I mean, it's not like we can just pick up the phone and call the people at SRF and say we need
right.
$500,000.
But we know
probably have to go to
we
a
wouldn't
bank loan.
categorically be denied in the case of an injury or an emergency. It is an injury, yeah, an emergency. We'd be able to.
What was this accident?
Yeah. Did it? Yeah. Okay, yeah. You guys think?
I guess looking
Jeff
at
and
the
Justin.
numbers that came out yesterday, I mean, that just boggled my mind. The numbers themselves were so out of whack that I think it'd be hard to figure out where we actually are.
I'm
I think
wondering,
that's inside the city limits. I think we know
Inside.
pretty close where we're at. Outside the city limits. I just think there's more questions now with that piece of information, but I think I'm evident how I stand on the situation. I don't think
I'm wondering if, like, just given the other stuff we're looking at, if we need to have a longer and deeper philosophical discussion about how we want to structure the water rates. And they are what they are now. I mean, in general, commercial,
Because you're talking,
citizen
you're
users,
talking the
whatever.
whole system.
As a whole
Yeah.
system,
Yeah.
because are we consciously doing what we're doing because we want to do it that way or something else? I'm not informed enough, not having been here long enough to feel good about that.
So what I'm hearing is take no action on this tonight.
Yeah, I agree with that, Brian. After seeing those numbers from yesterday.
I'd make a motion. What do we, we don't want to take action. We don't have to do anything.
Yeah, we can just say we're not gonna take action.
That's where I'm at.
That's where we'll go.
So does that mean this will come up?
We can decide to continue the discussion on this in work sessions. I mean, we will
Or does-
continue to,
Does this die because there's no motion?
well, it dies right, it's not, I don't think die is the right word. It's not, I don't want to say table because that's a different. But I think this just leaves it open for further discussion and more of that in-depth dive that we're looking for to try and looks like we need to look at the whole system. Or the whole up and down. So I think that's for another day, but I wouldn't say it's dead. I would just say we need to reexamine the entire situation, top to
How
bottom,
we price it.
inside, outside, left, right. But we'll take no action on it tonight.
Probably. I'd say wait until after budget stuff's done.
Yeah, I think we're gonna need more than just a back and forth. This is going to probably be something where we're gonna probably have to have. I would like to maybe have where Heidi in-house.
100%.
So we'll see how that goes
Yeah,
rather
rather
than,
than through Zoom.
yeah.
We'll reach out to her tomorrow to kind of give her an
Just to-
update on
yep.
what took place tonight.
Yeah, and then I think that'll be the goal at this point. So any questions anyone has in the meantime, get those to Annette so that she can funnel them to Heidi. And again, based on those numbers yesterday, there's again, created a lot more questions,
Yeah.
answers, and I think, again, not outside,
fair.
but it created questions inside the city as well, so. So we'll leave that there. Next up, ordinance amending the Title V Public Works, Chapter 53, regional increase annually 3%.
This was doing the same thing. This was like, we're gonna treat garbage
Now,
utility.
kind of twofold, actually,
Yeah.
so our new contract with the carrier, with the contractor, does say that there will be a 3% increase each year. And so our ordinance doesn't really match or tie up with that. And so it's kind of twofold. We need to do that,
Right.
kind of like the way we have it structured, rather than just saying 3%, having it
We
structured.
need the
this-
3% because of the
Exact-
contract.
So do
Right.
we need to do anything with
Not
this
tonight.
tonight? Because it's tied
No.
together right now.
We do not, because right now we have the outside
Right.
city limits as 175%, so I will update that and we'll bring it back next
Okay.
time.
I put that back to the 150 and then we do the
Right.
3% and then we
Right.
deal with it.
Right.
We can do that at the next meeting.
Yeah, and it'll be outlined by fiscal year, just like the water and sewer are
Thank you.
versus just a percentage, so,
So now, no action on that item either.
yes, please.
At this point, we'll need a motion. Go into closed session.
I'll make a motion to move into closed session.
I'll second.
Brian, Ice. Go ahead, read it. I'll make a motion to go into closed session pursuant to Iowa Code 21. to discuss strategy with counsel in matters that are presently in litigation or where its disclosure would be likely prejudicial, et cetera, et cetera.
For the record, I, as the attorney, am here and I've advised the council that it would be appropriate for you to go into closed session for this purpose.
I'll make that motion. Brian, I.
Justin,
Jeff, aye. Motion carries. Thanks, everybody.
You want me to shut the door?
Please.
Yes, please. Hey, Dean, thanks for replacing my smart meter, my water meter.
Hey.
My dad said you stopped by, I'm like, dang,
Absolutely.
and she didn't know where the water shut off was. Shows what kind of a husband I am.
I was just trying to tighten up some of them loose ends
I'm
down
like,
there
honey,
in
I've shown you
that
where
part of the
that is.
neighborhood. Yeah, so.
That's good.
You're not alone, about probably 80% of people
Am I-
don't know where the
You
water
can
is.
close the now.
Really?
My wife.
Wait till she's good.
Yeah, well,
Anyone that is online, what we're going
We are
to do
recording.
is going into a closed session, and so we will be basically closing out the meeting. During that time, you'll be able to hear or see anything, and then we'll open up the meeting back up to basically adjourn. So there really isn't a reason for anyone online to stay online,
Correct.
and it looks like she hopped off.
Okay.
So, bye-bye.
Only.
Okay.
is that back door closed?
I will make sure.
Okay, well, the west side, and then it was just a.
Thank you.
Need a motion to go back into open session? Or go
We just
reopen it
adjourn.
or adjourn?
I mean,
The motion to adjourn?
your motion was to return to open session.
Yes.
You can
Just a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Or we don't open it to
Just in
citizen
case.
comment? Anybody online? All right.
No.
Do we need to, we don't need to make any directives or anything?
No, I would just say at this point, no actions being taken as a result of closed session.
Informational.
Justin, did you make the motion?
I made a motion to adjourn.
Second. Brian, I.
Justin, I.
John, can I? John can have a second. We all voted
Whatever you
yay.
want.
Jeff,
Oh, motion carries.
Justin and Jeff, right?
Sure.
That's what the notes.
We are
are gonna
adjourned.
say.
Just so.
We all second.
Should we take that out of there?
Everybody, I gotta look at that.